First areas that we were able to respond to. We've got the 878th Engineer Battalion that's right here, has an armory right here in Augusta. So those folks were out of the armory and into the community responding as quickly as they could on Saturday morning. Some of the missions that we've supported thus far, we've synced up with first responders early on, and still doing it in some places where we're just trying to get to folks that are isolated in homes because of downed trees and other debris that are around their houses. We're providing route and debris clearance packages. Now those can be chainsaw teams, or those can be heavy engineers with equipment, pushing debris and trees out of the way so that we can make room to get trucks in and get the power back on. We're transporting critical supplies all over the state, food, water, and generators, and we're doing that not only by ground, but we've got helicopters that we're trying to get critical supplies to where needed as fast as we can. We're also going to have some folks here to help with traffic control and any security operations that come up, and we'll do that over the next couple of days here as well. We're going to continue to assess just the damage across the state, and then we'll be able to expand as needed to provide our capabilities to help in the communities where needed. And I'll work closely. We'll continue to work closely as a team with the local EMA director here, our state and federal partners, to do all that we can to just help get all of us through this. So thank you all for what you're doing. There's a lot of folks, a lot of volunteers out helping with this thing, and we certainly appreciate it. So thanks, and then I'll be available for any questions that you may have after this.
Good morning. I'm Chris Stallings, Director of Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Thank you, Governor, Major General, for the constant support. I want to provide a few updates on resources and assets that the state are providing right now. Currently, we have 361 drinking water sites that are serving over 1 million customers. We understand that water in is important, but we also have 78 water and wastewater treatment facilities that we're having to work on right now, so be patient with those. That's why you're going to see 291 boil water advisories that are statewide. So we understand the frustration of that, and we're working very diligently in that direction. To help offset that, we have shelters still available. We currently have about 520 people in shelters across the state. At those shelters, you can get recovery efforts, showers, water, food, places to sleep. So even if you're not required to stay there overnight, find a shelter in your location. They have supplies available that can help you out. Just yesterday alone, we provided over 21,000 meals at those locations. Across the 911 community, we have 11 911 centers across the state that are being fully supported in some capacity by GEMA or our partners through power or communication assets, whether it be unique situations I'll touch on in just one second. But part of it is the AT&T and Verizon outages that we have across the state. It's no fault of their own. The wind took care of that. But we have 328 Verizon sites that are still out of service and 250 AT&T sites that are still out of service. T-Mobile as well has 100 sites that are on generator power only, and they have 5% of their total coverage area that's out. To fill you in on some of the resources, we've gotten outside the box so that your folks know we're working hard for them. We've deployed satellite phones, CSG cases, or mobile 911 systems that you can literally run a 911 center off the bed of a truck. Starlink kits, Southern Link devices. We've stood up portable towers for 911 and emergency responders. We've got rapid cases and MEVO, which are dispatch centers in a box. Again, it's a different style that works on landline. We've got generators deployed all throughout the state, tarps, water, MREs, ice, you name it. We're rolling it out to assist. But as we told you the other day, it's going to take about 72 hours for some of you to start seeing some of those resources reach you, simply because of how destructive the storm was. You'll start seeing pods or points of distribution starting today all throughout the affected area. What those pods will give you are water, some food, other cleaning supplies, basic human and health needs. So you could pick up toothbrush, anything like that at these pods that you'll have. We have a lot of not-for-profit partners that are partnering with us, and those will start standing up today. We have 13 that have opened as of this morning, and they'll continue to open as we can establish areas. And finally, fuel, we understand, is a significant resource. We are keeping fuel there. It's just a matter of getting power to those gas stations. So there's plenty of fuel as soon as we can turn some power back on. So there's no need to run on fuel. If you've got a neighbor that's got some fuel in a neighboring county, go pick up fuel. We got plenty there. We're going to keep those stores stocked along the way. And with that, I'll turn it over to Congressman Scott, and we'll get Allen, excuse me, sir, and we'll get any questions at the end.
There's a lot of y'all been dealing with, sir.
That was yesterday. But we really appreciate you being in Augusta and the 12th District today. Well, this all started, my wife and I were awakened. It was about 5 o'clock when a 150-year-old tree did not come into our home, but it's resting on our roof, and it made a really loud noise right on top of us. So we thank God for that. Law enforcement has been working nonstop. They've gotten no sleep. Emergency personnel working nonstop. I know you can't see it, but it's there. They are doing all they can do. I want to thank the governor. I mean, this is an all-out, all-in Georgia government response to the worst storm. In fact, I understand that it might be like 1870 before we've had anything like this. And frankly, we've been fortunate all those years that we've been able to dodge it. I remember when Hugo was, they thought it was coming up the Savannah River, and we were ready for that one. Unfortunately, this one was supposed to go up I-75. It turned, and it caught us by surprise. I think that area of the state was a little more prepared for what was going to happen based on the direction of this storm, but unfortunately it turned. We got the leeward side, we got the worst part, and it wreaked havoc from here all the way to North Carolina. So this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. I heard the governor say that. This is an American issue. This is a Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina issue. And I will tell you, the rest of the nation, I've heard from members all over the country, are you okay? How's things? When you get back, we're going to deal with this. And I'm talking about FEMA. I'm talking about, because GEMA has been on board. The biggest problem we've had is, again, knowing where these sites are, where there's water and food, because the communications are down, because we don't have internet, and so that's a big problem. But we, obviously we're working on that. I've seen tremendous progress over the last 3 days. I was finally able to actually get out of my street. The street was blocked on both ends, so I can now move around and get around. It is very important for the safety of our folks, if at all possible, stay home. Get what you need and stay home. Shelter in place. Limit traffic. And of course, that's the best way to keep your home safe. And number two, the important thing is to always drive defensively, because there are folks that are in a hurry. And we've heard that the sheriff, I think, told us, Mayor, that he's having to deal with, I don't know, thousands of traffic accidents because of this red light situation. So, again, we lost a very dear friend in this. But we also heard stories of other folks, for one reason or another, they got a text or something, they got out of bed, went downstairs to see if they could see what was going on, and a tree came through their bedroom, and they're alive today. So there's been some miracles out there. But unfortunately, we've lost some folks. So I'd just like to end this with just a moment of silence for all of those law enforcement, our governor, and all of our state legislators and everybody that have been involved with this disaster, and their efforts, and for their families, and for our law enforcement, our fire and rescue, and our emergency personnel. So if we could just have a moment of silence, pray, and ask God to help us. Thank you very much. I did learn one thing. I thought a lot of people in the 12th district had my cell phone number. Everybody in the 12th district has my cell phone number now, and I'm glad. And I'm glad they called me, and we've been able to get them help. Thanks to you, Governor, and of course the mayor here and I mean, I think we talk every 30 minutes. I don't know. But anyway, and all the mayors, the city staff. It's been Columbia County. I've talked to all of our emergency directors that I've been able to get. Some of them, they still don't have communication, I don't think. But I've tried to talk to them about what we can do and that sort of thing. With that, we'll take questions, Governor?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Congressman. Just a couple things following up. I know Colonel Hitchens is here. We have been providing local law enforcement some additional resources to try to help with traffic and other law enforcement issues that have been going on. So I just want to mention that. Mention that Commissioner McMurray with DOT is here. Literally a statewide event for them, unprecedented. Commissioner Rabin with the Department of Natural Resources. We've got a lot of DNR chainsaw strike teams out there cutting along with Georgia Forestry Commission, and so we literally have a state response. My last message to people would be we will not waver until we get everything put back together. It may take us a while, but just know this team will work 24/7 to get your power back on, to get roads clear, to get water operating, make sure that we're getting our state back to normal. This is obviously going to be a very long recovery, but we will not waver in that recovery. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
I have one. Can you share the details about what requests you made to President Biden?
Well, I mean, I'll let Director Stallings talk about what we've done from GEMA, but just to walk back, I mean, we did an early state of emergency statewide for this storm because we knew this storm was going to be a statewide event. You know, it wasn't going to be just south of Macon, or it wasn't going to be the east or the west side of the state. We knew we were looking at a monstrous storm that would be a statewide event. This is one of the biggest wind field storms ever to be in the Atlantic, and obviously when you see the devastation of a hurricane that came into Florida, all the way across Georgia, up through South Carolina, and still did the damage it did in North Carolina. I mean, it's just incredible. So I just spoke, the president just called me yesterday afternoon. I missed him and called him right back. And he just said, hey, what do you need? And I told him, you know, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that. But we've had FEMA embedded with us since, you know, a day or two before the storm hit in our state operations center in Atlanta. We got a great relationship with them. We've been in touch with our congressional delegation, with Speaker Burns, the legislative delegation, and so you know, thankfully we have an experienced team that's used to this, and just like the expedited disaster relief that we're requesting, they have acknowledged receipt of that, and I'm sure that they'll take care of that very quickly.
Director Stallings, for people who want to find these distribution pods, what's the central location to find that information?
You can go to our website at gema.georgia.gov, and the question that was asked is how do you find our location and find those shelter sites. If you go to gema.georgia, spelled out, .gov, then there's a special website for Hurricane Helene. Under there, it's got every shelter location, every pod location, every food distribution, water distribution locations. They're all found there.
Director Stallings, previous storms we in Georgia always get great mutual aid from Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. Our strongest partners are suffering as much as we are. How much did that impact our ability to get mutual aid, and how are we filling that gap?
We went further, faster. So we've brought it in from Texas, we've brought it in from New Jersey, we've brought it in from Missouri, we've brought it in from Maryland, we've brought it in from Montana. With the governor signing an early state of emergency, it allowed us to go ahead and EMAC those requests in. We've got a lot of contracts that we've turned on, so we've been very fortunate. We've got a lot of resources that are already in our state and continue to flow into the state.
I just note too, a lot of our counties as well as the state, like DOT's got private sector companies. I know some of them are out there watching the press conference right now that you know, have contracts with local governments, also with the Department of Transportation. So we got a lot of private sector contractors. Marty and I spoke to one of them today that's helping clear routes for the power company folks we spoke to earlier. Anybody else? All right, thank y'all for joining us. We'll keep you posted as things progress. Have a great day. Be safe.
Good to see you. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Sheriff, we'll follow up.